heard the verdicts in what could be one of the biggest murder trials of the year, and thanks to today's media coverage, people could watch it, every question, witness, and breath taken live from the courtroom. The question on everybody's mind, would George Zimmerman serve life in prison for the murder of Trayvon Martin? It all started on February 26, 2012. A man named George Michael Zimmerman shot and killed Trayvon Benjamin Martin. Word spread quickly thanks to social media and civil rights groups. Zimmerman claims self-defense immediately and has kept to his story throughout the trial. Zimmerman suffered cuts on his head, claiming Trayvon Martin attacked him before he fired his gun. At the time of the shooting, Zimmerman was a 28-year-old Hispanic male measuring 5'8" and 200 pounds. He lived in a multi-ethnic gated community in Sanford, Florida, where he was part of the Neighborhood Watch. Zimmerman was working on an associate degree in criminal justice. One key point working against George Zimmerman after the shooting was that in 2005 he was charged with assaulting a police officer and resisting arrest although the charges were later dropped. While driving through his neighborhood on the night of the 26th, Zimmerman came across soon-to-be 17-year-old Trayvon Benjamin Martin. Martin was an African-American male who was 6 feet tall and 160 pounds. During the night of the shooting, Martin was visiting his father, who also lived in the gated community. One fact working against Martin after the shooting was that he was currently on probation from school due to drug residue found on his book bag. Although the teen had found himself in trouble, his family and friends described Martin as a fun, respectful young man. On April 11, 2012, George Zimmerman was charged with the second-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty. There were several days in June of 2013, around 500 potential jurors were summoned for duty, and questions began for the selection. Finally, on June 20th, 6 women were chosen to decide Zimmerman's fate. The judge established an anonymous jury, meaning only the prosecution and defense would know the identities of the jury members. Following the selection, the trial began on the 24th. Key components in the trial are the phone calls made by both Zimmerman and neighbors reporting the incident. One of the main 911 calls used during the trial was a scream in the background. The witness who made the call has testified as not knowing whose voice she heard make the scream. During the first week of the trial, both Zimmerman and Martin's mothers testified. Each said that it was their son screaming for help. One key witness that was a major part during the first few days of the trial was 19-year-old and Trayvon Martin's friend, Rachel Gentle. Records show that Gentle was the last person on the phone with Martin before he was fatally shot. During hours of questioning, she emotionally recounted the last phone call. Martin had allegedly told her that a man was following him on his way back home from buying snacks. At one point, she heard Martin ask, "Why are you following me for?" followed by a heavy-breathing man asking what he was doing in the neighborhood. That's when she heard a thump, Martin saying, get off," and the phone disconnected. Another component of the case came from Trayvon Martin's autopsy. The coroner found trace amounts of THC found in marijuana in Martin's system. Originally, the judge ruled that there would be no use of Martin's drug use and trouble in school as part of the defense. This could create a false character analysis for the jurors, which had nothing to do with the shooting. On July 8th, a judge ruled that the autopsy results could be used in a court, so Zimmerman's defense used it as a sense of impairment on Martin's part. Throughout the trial, and even during the investigation, George Zimmerman remained on the court-ordered GPS tracking system. He was allowed to live freely in his home, but he was considered a possible flight risk. Zimmerman's attorney motioned to have the device removed during the trial, but the motion was declined. Many people wonder why Zimmerman was never arrested and held for the murder of the Florida teen. Like Indiana, Florida adopted what is known as a stand your ground law in 2005. Under Florida law, a citizen has the right to use force, even if deadly, to prevent the death or great bodily harm to themselves or another. Since there was cuts on his head and a laceration on Trayvon Martin's finger, there was enough evidence to uphold Zimmerman's self-defense plea for this law. After only a few days of deliberation, the jury rested on a decision. On July 13th, George Zimmerman was pronounced not guilty. The jury of the 6 women decided the prosecution did not present enough evidence to prove beyond reasonable doubt Zimmerman was guilty. Social media is on fire with comments from shocked Americans. A man shot and killed a teenager doing no wrong and claimed self-defense because of stand your ground law. That man got away with murder.